Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. It is Thursday, isn't it? Didn't watch the press conference, don't know what's happening in the world, but that's okay. I'm just in my kitchen and I'm just not thinking about anything else. And I hope that for the next little while, you can all join me and not think about what's going on in the world, and let's just focus on something delicious. Today, I just want to take a minute of your time to tell you, and I'm just waiting to see if my sister's on today, Esther. No pressure, Esther. But today would have been our dad's 90th birthday. He passed away, it's coming up to 6 years. So he would have been 90 today. And I talk about him a lot, and he was not really a foodie, which is quite a funny thing, yet so many things about his and my relationship relates to food. So maybe he was sort of a secret foodie in there. And I just want to play a song while you're all coming in to just, in memory of my dad. This was one of his favourites, okay? Just, let's think about my dad. His name was Jack. And this was playing at our house most Sunday mornings. Do you know this song? It's the Andrew Sisters. And it makes me think of my dad. And so happy birthday, Dad. Happy 90th, wherever you are, up there somewhere. So let's just have a minute. It's very indulgent of me to take your time. But hopefully everybody's just, thinking of someone where a song that you play just brings them back with you, like they're by your side. Good morning, everyone. Oh, I should show you a photo of my dad. I wish I had one. I'll have to run up the hall and find one. Should I do that? No, I won't. You know what? Another day. I just love the Andrew Sisters because I grew up with it. It reminds me of Sunday morning bagels and smoked salmon and tuna salad, which is what we had every Sunday, and this playing. So nice, isn't it? All right. Good morning, everyone. All right, I think we'll stop. I could just play the whole song, though. It's so lovely. It's such a good song, isn't it? I just love them. All right, that's it for the music. So just wanted to say happy birthday to my late dad, who would have been 90 today. Anyway, so hope everyone is doing well. Thank you for all your lovely wishes and blessings, all of you. It's really nice. Welcome, people, and so good to be here together in the kitchen again. It's really the highlight of my day, and all your messages and emails and texts, I really, really love getting them. So please don't be shy if you want to tell me something or say how much you're enjoying the group or tell me what you're getting out of it, the group. It's like a group session, actually. It really is. I'd love to hear it. Just fills me with the greatest joy. So many people's fathers used to sing this song. Well, I guess if you're around my age, that's the songs our fathers used to play. Thank you, everybody, for your lovely comments. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So let's talk cooking, shall we? The recipe today is from this book, the one with us on the cover, and it's called Israeli Rice Pilaf, and it came to us in a really cute way, which I'll tell you about as we're cooking because we should really get started. Let's go through the ingredients that we're going to need. Now, someone's going to say, what page is it on? Okay, 212, okay? We're cooking the Israeli Rice Pilaf, which is a great side dish for anything. It goes with a barbecue, it goes with a roast, it goes with fish fillets, like absolutely any protein goes with it. It is such a lovely dish, and especially for Jewish New Year because it's got sultanas or currants in it, which it makes it a sweet dish, which is lovely for this time of year. All right, so thank you Pam for that beautiful comment. I love every minute, Lisa, a new dimension to my day. Thank you, really, thank you. All right. Shall we just stand here and chat again? It's really my favourite part of the whole thing. Forget cooking today. Let's throw away the saucepan. No, of course we won't. We're going to start cooking now because this is a dish that you'll all be very, very happy to see how it's done, how simple it is. You can make it ahead. The question is whether you want to microwave it when it's all cooked and the onions go a bit soggy. Does that matter? That's really up to you. Okay, let's go. You're going to need 2 pans, I'm sorry to say. You're going to need 1 pound to cook the rice, and I'm using this one. I'm doing 1 cup of rice. It's slightly big for 1 cup actually, so maybe I'm going to rethink this quickly. Yep, I am. Okay, so I'm going to actually... I think I mentioned yesterday that... Oops. No breakages, all good. I think I mentioned yesterday that I gave my saucepans away to my son Sam. So all I've got is this little tiny one and this. And what you need for this recipe is the one that Sam has, the one in between. But I've ordered it just now from Everton and it's on its way. Okay, so this will do for 1 cup of rice. But if you're doing 2 cups of rice, you need this size, okay, which is a 3 litre. So I'm going to go through what I'm going to do. I have given you the recipe for 1 cup of rice, which makes a side dish for about 4 people. So I'm going to need a small saucepan. Non-stick is always better for me. And a frying pan, because while the rice is cooking, we're going to fry the rest of the ingredients. Let's start with the rice. Go through the ingredients now. We need... I am organised, don't worry. I may look completely disorganised, but I'm completely organised. Okay, we need some vermicelli noodles, and I use these ones that come in the nest. They're perfect. You know, they sell them in the supermarket. Any egg noodle that you can break up is fine. We need 40 grams of that. Pretty much 1 nest is right. We need 1 cup of rice, and I want to say something about measuring the rice. Can you measure it in the same thing that you're going to measure the stock in by using chicken stock or vegetable stock? Because I want 1 of these rice and 2 of these of stock, okay? And I want it to be the same cup measure, so it's exactly right for this recipe, okay? So I've got 1 cup of rice. I have 2 cups of chicken stock, and today I'm using this one here, which is a bought one. You could use a stock you've made, you can use vegetable stock, but you do need something with flavour because that's part of the dish. Someone I know is going to say, can you use stock cubes? You know what? I don't want to for this one. If you have to, you can. Be very, very careful with how much, because you don't want to taste that it tastes like a cube. So I prefer to use bought stock for this, or homemade stock if you can. Good morning, Brizzy Chris, how are you? And good morning to everyone. I haven't said proper hellos to everyone this morning because we were playing that song. So I'm sorry. Hello, and good morning. And it's remiss of me not to say a proper hello to everybody. But know that I am saying hello to each and every one of you. Okay, then we have some salt. Half a teaspoon of salt. I've got an onion, which I'm going to chop. And I have pine nuts, 2 tablespoons of raw pine nuts and 2 tablespoons of currants or sultanas. I love these currants. These are beautiful dried black currants. If you're in the eastern suburbs, I bought them at Parisi's and I really like them, but any currants will do. If you don't have currants, you can use sultanas, you can use cranberries, just a little dried fruit. Susie Rosie, yes, of course you can double the recipe. In fact, this is half the recipe that's in the book, because I get feedback from people that everyone wants smaller dishes. So this is exactly half of what's in the book. Good question, Calm. It is basmati rice, long grain. Thank you for reminding me. I've got long grain rice. All right. So let's start. I've also got olive oil. I have got 2 tablespoons of olive oil, or 1.5 tablespoons. Look at this cute little jug that I just got as a gift. It is, I got a whole little set of them. They're really, really cute. It's from a shop and I don't know the name. I think it was Daiso, maybe in Bondi Junction. It's really cute. Anyway, let's start. So in my pan, in my saucepan, okay, I'm going to put half the olive oil, about half of it. And you need to be on the ball here, because once the noodles start frying, they can burn in a second. I've thrown out many batches of these noodles because they burn in a second. So you need to have your rice ready and your noodles ready, okay? We're going to crunch them up. I'm just going to do it into this bowl. This is what we're doing. We're just crunching them up. We want small pieces of noodle, okay? And they crunch really nicely. So see what I'm doing? With my hand crunching them into maybe 1 centimetre bits. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Quite a fun activity, actually. Except when at the end of the noodle pokes you in the hand. Not so fun. Alright, so crunched up noodles. Oil is hot. Turning it down to medium high. Got my spoon ready. I'm going to add the noodles in, cook them quickly till they're brown, and then throw in the rice, okay? Please don't put your noodles in if your rice isn't measured already. We need 1 cup of rice and 1 nest of noodles, okay? So 1 nest, 40 grams of dry vermicelli. Ready? Oil's hot. Of course, remember I want that sizzle, okay? No sizzle, wasn't hot enough. Okay, doesn't matter. In there. Oh yes, it's sizzling a tiny bit. The tiniest bit. So, stir it around. I've turned the temperature up to high because I want to brown them. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't know how rice noodles would go in this, to be honest. Try it and see. Try it and see. It's nice to be able to see the different colour noodles, and I wonder if the rice noodles would just blend in too much with the rice. So what we're doing is we're trying to make them crisp and golden. They're not going to stay crisp because they're going to cook with the rice, but they are going to be golden, and they do add a toasty flavour, which is really nice. Okay, so cook your noodles. Make sure your oil is hot, and make sure your rice is ready. I know I keep saying the same thing, but I want to make sure, okay? Nope, haven't put the rice in yet. I have just put the noodles in. It's only oil and noodles, half the oil, and the noodles will go brown in a matter of seconds. They're doing it right now. Browning, browning, browning. See? Toasty, toasty noodles. As soon as they're just brown, okay, you can see that. Okay, I'm throwing in the rice. Okay, rice in. And I'm going to toss that around and get those rice grains coated with the oil and the noodles, okay? I want the noodles to stop cooking on their own. I want the rice to start toasting a bit. As soon as the rice goes opaque, you can see it's starting to do that already. That's when I know it's toasting as I want. No, I did not wash my rice for this dish. I did not. Okay. Tossing the rice is on a high heat. I'm going to turn it down to medium now because my rice is starting to go white or opaque. Who's cooking along today? Give me a little thumbs up if you are. I'd love to know who's cooking with me. I did a Zoom last night for the synagogue. Some of you were there, and it's such a different thing to Insta Live because there's really no feedback. There's no hearts and there's no emojis, and you sort of wonder if people are really enjoying it. And I still wonder. I did get a lot of questions though, which was great. Was it great, or is it that people really didn't understand what I was saying? I wonder. Okay, so that's it. Everyone got that? Good. I'm happy to see Dorrit's cooking and Claire and Marla. Beautiful. Okay, and Amit's cooking. Okay, now that you have the rice, it is opaque, it is white. Everything's mixed well together. I'm going to add my stock. And I could just throw this packet in because it is 500 mils, but I'm actually not going to trust it. I'm just going to do 2 cups using this same measure, okay? My rice is on high. And I measured the rice in this, right? 1. Oh. And 2. Interestingly, okay, that's how much is left. So I didn't want to put the whole packet in. I want exactly the same quantity, double the quantity of rice. Okay, I'm going to give this a stir. And just like when we cooked steamed rice the other day, it's exactly the same. I'm going to turn it, wait for it to come to the boil, and then I'm going to put a lid on. But because I want it to steam, I'm just going to get some foil because this one has got little vents, okay? And I don't want the liquid to come out. So hold on a sec. So the only reason I'm using foil is because of this sauce from Mr. Vents, okay? All right. Okay, here we go. All right, Thalia, yes, it was recorded actually, last night's thing. I'm not sure that I want anyone to see it, but yes, it was recorded, and I will it's probably through the Great Synagogue. All right, coming to the boil. As soon as it comes to the boil, I'm going to put the lid on, which is boiling now. Can you see? It's just starting to laugh, right? I'm going to put the lid on. This is the one that I dropped on the floor. Okay, I'm going to turn it down and put it to the side to steam. Okay, so I've just made sure those vents are covered, because if all the steam goes, the rice can't steam. Okay, thank you, Helene. I'm glad you watched it. I'm glad you thought it was great. But you know what I mean about the feedback. I'm used to all of you being here, and you can just chat to me. It's much nicer. I don't know, Thalia, how to access it, but the Great Synagogue have an Instagram, so go on there and they might share it, or ask them on their DM if they're going to share it. I made honey snap biscuits and a beautiful apple pie cake, which was really fantastic. There's very little left. Anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute when we're frying everything. Okay, done that. Rice is on steaming with the noodles. What I did forget to put in there was the salt. If your chicken stock is salty, or has a good flavour, you probably don't need extra salt, but I probably should have put some in, so I'm going to have to put it in later. I might actually, you know what? I'm actually going to chuck it in now. I know it's not really quite right, but I'm going to quickly take the lid on. It's now on low, okay? And I'm going to give it a quick mix, okay? Because I really want that flavour, okay? So I put in my salt, which in my excitement I forgot to put in. Okay, no, it's now on low. Same way we cooked rice last week. Bring it to the boil till it's boiling. Cover tightly, low for 20 minutes or whatever, at least. Wendy, you said it doesn't work with vermicelli noodles, as in the vermicelli, I think, are these ones, the dried egg noodles. That's what I'm talking about. But are you talking about the rice noodles that it doesn't work with, perhaps? Okay. Next step. I think everyone's good with the rice. It's steaming and nothing else to do with that. Let's talk about pine nuts. So you can buy your pine nuts toasted at some places. I just generally leave a jar of raw pine nuts in the fridge, in a jar, and I just cook them as needed. The recipe calls for the pine nuts going in after you've cooked the onions, but I don't think it toasts them well enough. So I'm going to quickly toast them now in a dry pan and then set them aside before I go on with the rest. But I'm not actually using that one. I am using this one, okay? So I've got a fry pan, all right? And I'm going to turn it up, and I'm just going to cook my pine nuts. And while my pine nuts are cooking, I'm going to chop my onion, okay? And I'm going to be careful, because pine nuts are like sesame seeds. They burn really easily if you don't pay attention. And I've just got a bowl here, which I'm going to chuck them in when they're finished frying, okay? The rice is on for 20 minutes. Will be enough for it to steam. But it can keep going for longer. Nothing's going to happen to it, okay? So I'm turning it to, the rice is on low, and it's just steaming gently. Okay, make sure the steam's not escaping, because then it won't work. All right, pan's hot-ish. Let's put in our pine nuts. Okay, and we just want them to be golden. It's just going to take a minute. They're going to start. In the meantime, I'm going to chop my onion. And you can slice the onion if you don't want it chopped. You can cut it in long pieces, or you can chop it. Think about how you want it to look at the end, because you are going to have the onion and the pine nuts and the currants are sort of like a, garnish is the wrong word, but they put on the top to serve. So you sort of want it to be, you've got to think about how you want your onions to look. And I think today, for a change, because we've been chopping onions the same way for so long, I might do it differently. Let's do them into strips, okay? So I'm just going to cut my onion like this, and I'm going to cut along the grain. You know, an onion is an interesting thing. If you cut across the grain, your pieces are not going to stay in their pieces as they fry. They're going to start to melt. Melt's the wrong word, because of course onion can't melt, but soften a little bit around the edges. So I want them to hold their shape nicely, so I'm cutting along the grain. Claire, I have not, no, it wasn't Claire, sorry, it was see you in a tick. Piccalilli pine nuts, Pinoli pine nuts. No, haven't, from New Zealand. No, it sounds like I should. So I'm just giving them a toss, and they're starting to toast. And remember, like anything, we toast dry. The oils in them get hot, so we need to take them off the heat just before they're cooked, because they're going to continue to cook. It is quite a job to toss and do this. I'm going to turn it down. Let's go back to our onions. So I'm cutting these lengthways to fry off in nice pieces, okay? Along the grain, not across the grain. I just love fried onion. Okay, these are... Lucky I don't have to type as well. That would definitely push me over the edge. That would be too much. All right, these are toasting really nicely. Okay, I think that's good. It's actually better if you can be a little patient. I'm not always so patient when it comes to doing things like pine nuts and sesame seeds, but you can see they're good, toasted nicely, and they'll continue to toast a little bit. Putting my pan on, I'm going to put the rest of the oil in. Okay, and I'm going to fry the onion now. Haven't done anything with the currants yet. They are waiting till the end, okay? So I'm just going to finish slicing this onion carefully. Just taking my time. It's a slippery one, okay? I'm going to look out for those Pinoli pine nuts because I don't like the ones from China that we buy. Yeah, so we need to source something good, I think. So I've just sliced my onion. My oil is in my pan. My pan was hot. And what we're doing here is we are frying it till golden, okay? This is not a saute for a curry or a casserole. This is actually frying. I want golden, crisp-edged onions for this. They're not going to get cooked again. It's just going to be the onions for onion's sake. So they need to be cooked beautifully. Okay, I'm just going to get them all covered in oil. See, onions. And again, if you want to chop them in little pieces, that's also fine. I can't actually remember what the original recipe says, but I'm just feeling that sliced would be nice. All right. How's everyone going who's cooking? How's everyone going who's not cooking? Tell me something. Tell me what's happening in your life. How are you managing in lockdown if you're in lockdown? How are you managing out of lockdown if you're free? Sort of funny, isn't it, being in lockdown for so long? I know Melbourne people have been through it, but it's a very strange state of living. I don't know. Anyone, tell me something. All right. Like I always do, every single time I cook onions, I put a little bit of salt, just because. And good to see, I saw on Instagram, lots of people are taking up the Olsen Salt offer and using that code MMCC10 to get 10%. Olsen Salt website. Really worth doing. Beautiful spring day in Auckland. That is lovely to hear, Claire. Enjoy that. It's a beautiful spring day here as well. It's lovely. Oh, sorry, Ross. Having problems and can't follow live. It's a bugger, isn't it? Or I'm happy that I'm a good distraction for you. You know, if I was thinking about my aim in life when I was young, was it to be a distraction for people? Well, here I am, a distraction. I do like it though. It's nice that it gives us all something. I think we're a distraction for each other. Very happy, Mama Maria. Your husband loved the ricotta nudie. And he's a carnivore. It's interesting that, isn't it? I want to talk about brisket also today because I've been doing some experimentation, as you know, those who were with me yesterday with brisket. Let's just talk about these onions for a sec. They're now starting to go too slow, so I've turned them up again because I want them to fry, okay? We know the difference. We're not, you know, different ways of cooking onions depending on what you want to do with them. Okay, so if I'm cooking my tomato sauce, Cooper, if I'm cooking my tomato sauce, I am going to start them slowly because I don't want them to brown. But this time I want them to be brown, okay? Golden and crisp even. So it's going to take a few minutes. So let's just go through everything here before I chat more. I've got my rice steaming with the lid on tight, okay? And I've only got the foil because I've got vents in my saucepan, okay? But it's steaming gently. I've got my onions frying. I've toasted my pine nuts. And I've got my currants sitting, my currants sitting here waiting to be used, okay? That's everything, okay? How are we going? So, lockdown in Melbourne. This must be so hard for all you Melbourne people. I really feel for you because it's just never bloody ending, actually, for you guys. Yeah, Penny, I agree with you. I feel the same way about fried onions. I've always said there should be a perfume that smells like fried onions, because you'd have a little spritz and you'd go out and everyone would come up to you and go, oh my God, you smell so good, right? Yeah. I mean, why not? You know, why wouldn't we? Or barbecue would be the other. They would be the scents, SCNENTS, in my range. One would be barbecue and one would be fried onion. And you just put a little spritz on and you'd walk out and be very appealing, actually. Mazel tov, Sue. Sue became a grandmother for the 5th time this morning. First grandson. So 4 girls and now a boy. Oh, congratulations, Sue, to all of your family. That is beautiful news. Thank you for sharing it here. It's interesting when people have babies in lockdown, and I've thought about this all year, actually, during the pandemic, that on one hand it's sad that the new mother and father can't see the family, but on the other hand, I think it's a bit of a blessing that they get some time on their own in hospital without a million visitors. I mean, those of us who had babies, you know, pre-pandemic, we know what it's like when you have the whole family and extended family running in when you're trying to breastfeed and you're trying to learn how to put a nappy on this baby that you've never seen. You know, like, I think it's actually quite a blessing in disguise for the new mothers. I don't know how you feel. Thank you, Karen. I have ignited your joy of cooking. Thank you so much. I'm really happy to hear that. Okay, so have a look here. Frying nicely. Okay, as you can see, it's not that much oil. 1.5 tablespoons in the whole dish, which is not too much at all. For those of you who don't love lots of oil like I do. Okay, so beautiful news, Sue. That's really wonderful. All right, fry. Now, it's very hard for me to cook these and not have a little taste, I must say, of these onions. Yum, so good. All right, let them fry a bit. So see you in a tick says we're in lockdown in Marlborough, New Zealand now. So is the whole of New Zealand or just certain areas in lockdown? I never thought New Zealand would actually end up in lockdown. I thought New Zealand was the only country in the world that would actually escape it. There you go. It's just crazy what is going on. It's true. Aura says at least you've got good wine in the Marlborough. You do. Really good. I have a funny thing about Sauvignon Blancs that come from the Marlborough region. I know they're really famous and really popular, but when I drink it, it must be something weird about my palate. When I drink a Sauvignon Blanc from the Marlborough region, it tastes to me like capsicum juice. Like Cloudy Bay. Is that from Marlborough? I think it is capsicum juice. It's funny, isn't it? Yes, I have put in a pinch of salt with my onions, but the other salt that was measured should have gone in with the rice, okay? And you can season the rice later. All right, so onions are frying nicely. I'm quite happy with that. I think they're just about done. I'll give it another minute. I don't even mind if there are little burnt bits, to be honest. It's actually a lovely thing. I'm just going to go and get a serving dish. Just going to turn this and leave that for a second. Just bear with me while I go and get a serving dish for my rice, because I got mixed up which pan I was going to use and thought I'd serve it. If I was cooking it in this pan and doing 2 cups of rice or 3 cups, I would serve it in this at the table or on the sideboard or whatever. But because I've got this little tiny saucepan, this one, I'm not going to serve it in that, okay? So let me just run and get something to serve it in. Bear with me one sec. Chat amongst yourselves for a sec. And I'm just going to, this will be perfect, okay? I am coming back. Imagine if I don't know about you, but I get distracted on jobs. So imagine if I went to get a bowl and then forgot you were here and then just went about my day. It'd be really funny, or not. Okay, Calm, are we working on a new book? We are not working on a new book at the moment. After 4 books, we sort of decided that we weren't going to do another book at this time. Don't know what the future holds for Monday Morning Cooking Club. At the moment, we're having a little bit of a hiatus, and we just see each other socially. We don't see each other for work, and we talk about things from time to time. Okay, so all of New Zealand is in lockdown. Auckland level 4 and the rest in level 3. Oh, she's tough, isn't she? Yeah, she's really tough. Okay, that's it. My onions are done. I'm happy with those. I'm now going to add in the currants. I just want the currants to cook a little bit and get a little bit of that onion oil on them, okay? So put your currants in, or sultanas if you're using, or cranberry, whatever it is you're using. And now I'm going to put my pine nuts back in. I'll tell you where this recipe came from. Okay, so let me just finish this. So you can see all I'm doing here is just heating through the pine nuts and getting the currants coated in that beautiful onion oil. Oh, I'm glad you're laughing that I disappeared. Yeah, I'm laughing too. It's actually quite a funny idea. I could do that one day. I mean, imagine the things that could happen, you know, with all these Insta lives. You go away and you shout at your husband, or you go away and you scream at your kids, or do one of those things that you don't want anyone to know you do. It'd be terrible, wouldn't it? So many things could go wrong. All right, I'm going to put these aside. If I was serving the rice right now, I would just put it straight on top of the rice, but I'm not sure my rice is ready yet, so I'm just going to set it aside because I don't want it to keep cooking anymore, okay, because mine is cooked perfectly, okay. I don't want to cook that anymore. It's lovely, it's delicious. I'm just going to set it aside. Okay, I'm going to bring my rice back. I don't know how long it's been. I haven't put a timer on, but I'm going to have a little peek. That'd be funny, Lisa, if all of you were here waiting while I went away and did everything and then came back in like 10 minutes. It would be so funny. Anyway. Oh, that's looking great. Have a look. Okay, it's come up to the top. It's lovely and fluffy. There's no liquid at the bottom. Is it cooked is the question. Yeah. Yum. Okay. It's cooked. But before I serve it, I want to show you, so don't lift your rice lid up, okay, because, you know, it needs to, the more you lift it up, the more steam disappears and the more it's likely not to be cooked, okay, so just keep it on if you can. Mine cooked in, I don't know what's that's been probably about 15 minutes. It's pretty quick. I want to tell you where this recipe came from, because years ago, we used to write a blog on the website about all different things, and someone approached me on email, Gloria Pink. Gloria is from Nova Scotia in Canada, and Gloria asked me, do I know anything about the synagogue services or where she can get in touch with something or other? Lots of questions. She was coming to Sydney for her holidays and Christmas, and so I was chatting to her. I gave her my tips and we had a little chat. And then we started talking, and then it turned out we had a friend in common, and, you know, there's a whole story and a whole connection with Gloria in Nova Scotia. And she ended up giving us some recipes for the book, which we used. And I was chatting to her one day, or I saw her on Instagram, she was making this Israeli rice pilaf. And I said, Gloria, that recipe looks amazing. And she sent it to me, and here it is. So this is Gloria Pink's recipe, and she's from Nova Scotia. And when we were talking about doing a tour with this most recent book last year, you know, the book was released in March, just weeks before COVID. And so our whole tour was cut. We didn't do it. We went to Perth, actually, and that was it. And we were dreaming of going to New York and to LA and to Nova Scotia. And I was looking at the flights and how we could get there, and never happened. Anyway, that's the Gloria story. And I think she's got, to memory, 2 recipes in the book. She's got a beautiful blueberry tart and an amazing blueberry tart for when blueberries in season, and this rice in that book. And the funny thing is that we've got Gloria Pink, Ruth Mink, and someone Fink. So we've got Mink, Pink and Fink, and I find that really amusing. I don't know why. Ruth Mink, Gloria Pink, and Mickey Fink from Orange in California, Orange County. Dorothy, yeah, we came to Perth and we had the most amazing time in Perth. We did brilliant events at some amazing bookshop whose name I can't remember. It was just so stressful though, because it was the 12th of March, I remember, when we had made the decision to pull the plug. Oh, do you remember that stressful time? All right, I have my rice, which is cooked. I'm going to put it into a serving bowl. Okay, there should be no liquid left in the bottom. If there's liquid, it's probably not cooked properly. If anyone wants a rice facial, you can have that at the same time. Okay, beautiful, beautiful steaming rice. Now, the thing I want to tell you is you can do it ahead like this. Okay, let it cool. Reheat that in the microwave covered. Fry this a second time at the last minute and put it on top. That would be my ideal, okay, because I want this crispy. Or you can just put it on now and reheat it in the microwave and these will just be a bit softer. Or you can reheat it in the oven. It's up to you. This is how I'm going to serve it, like this. This would also be nice with cranberries for a bit of colour. I think that'd be lovely. And that's it. This is the rice. Look how delicious that looks. Nothing. I might turn the stove off before I catch on fire. Okay, that's it. And you saw, like, seriously, it's been 37 minutes and I have made a complete dish. And I think, yes, the stove is off. I just want to show you how nice it looks. Isn't that beautiful? So Ruth, you say your rice or Simone, sorry, a skin at the bottom. Is it sort of like that? That's what mine looks like at the bottom. So I'm not sure what you mean by a skin, but just scrape it up. It'll be fine, hopefully. It's absolutely delicious. This serves about 4, and that's only 1 cup of rice. As I said, the recipe in the book serves 8 people. It's 2 cups of rice. That's my side dish done, and I'm going to have that for dinner probably with some roast chicken or something. But I want to talk about brisket before I go because, you know, I've been doing the brisket experiment this week. And for those who weren't with me yesterday, I was talking about the fact that when I buy a brisket from the butcher, the best well-marbled brisket, the part of it that's not fatty, I find dries out. And I know people say, no, it's tender, no, but it's not what I want. When I want to eat roasted brisket, I want it to be juicy and succulent, and I want the little fatty bits caramelized on the outside. And I want my sauce to be thick and sticky. Okay, that's what I want my brisket to be. So I was talking to Gary from Field to Fork. Field to Fork's owned by Paula, who's one of my co-authors from the first 2 books, Paula Horwitz. Field to Fork have butchers in Bondi and Vaucluse in Sydney, and they deliver all over. He delivered to me a Riverina brisket in 2 parts. The decal, or the point end, which is the fatty bit, okay, decal, D-E-C-K-L-E, yeah, weird word, and the flat, which is the lean part. And I cooked them both. I did less time for the flat, same sauce, lots of sauce for the flat. And of course the flat was fine at the end, but the decal or the point was amazing and succulent and beautiful. So if you're looking for brisket this year, I suggest you call Field to Fork. I've put on my Insta stories. They've got 2 numbers. For Vaucluse and Bondi, you can actually SMS your order or you can call. You need to order the decal or the point end of the brisket, not the flat, okay? So that's just a little brisket story for you. We've got 2 recipes on the website. One is Jewish Chinese brisket and one is honey glazed brisket with potatoes and prunes and carrots for Rosh Hashanah. So that's the brisket story. So yes, this should be served warm, definitely. It's just perfect right now, and my mouth is watering, and I don't have a spoon here to actually eat it, which I really want to. But I've got such a nice message from Irene who says, Lisa, I knew your dad at Prince Henry, such a lovely man. Oh, that's so nice, yeah. My dad was a doctor. He was a gastroenterologist in Melbourne, and he worked at Prince Henry's Hospital until it was demolished for apartments, and then was at Monash. And he was an academic at Monash Uni as well. That's my dad. For those who missed the beginning, it would have been his 90th birthday today, and I played his favourite song, which I'm actually going to play as I leave you today, just so we can round off the episode nicely, for my dad, which is, you know, very special. And I'm sorry that Esther, my sister's not here today, because she's here every single day, just not today. Okay, so I've covered the brisket. I've covered the rice. Tomorrow I am doing... What am I doing tomorrow? Someone remind me. Oh, how can I forget? Tomorrow is honey cake day. So Jewish New Year starts next week. We need honey cakes till they're coming out of our ears, and then by next Wednesday night we will all be so sick of honey cakes that we can't even look at it for the rest of the year. I'm sure those of you know who celebrate New Year know what I mean, right? We're all eating them and gonna eat them, and then we're gonna just be so can't even look at honey cake. I'm almost there because I've been making quite a lot. Honey cake tomorrow, which is Friday, and on Sunday, if you haven't signed up, I'd really love a few more people. I've got lots so far, but it's going to be amazing. Russian honey cake. Please join me at 11 o'clock. It's going to be really great, and you're going to learn this cake that is going to be with you forever and ever. I promise you. That's it for me. And I'm doing another cooking thing with Michael Rantisi from Kepos on the 19th of September. I think we're going to do Sunday lunch together. We've got a great menu happening. There'll be stuff on social media about that when it goes live. In the meantime, in memory of my dad, Jack, I'm going to say farewell with the Andrews sisters in the background. And I'll see you then. Thanks for joining me today, everyone. Check out Insta Stories for the brisket info. It's all there. See you all. It's a bit reach today to turn it off. See you, everybody. Bye.